Welcome to the state of Ohio. I'm Karen Kassler. It was the announcement that both Democrats and Republicans have been waiting on for very different reasons. Democratic three-term former U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown officially launched his campaign to return to the chamber next year, diffusing the hopes of those who wanted him to run for governor. If he is the nominee, he'll face likely Republican nominee Jon Husted, appointed to the Senate in January to fill out the rest of now Vice President J.D. Vance's Senate term, which ends in 2028. My Statehouse News Bureau colleague Jo Ingles sat down with Brown to talk about why he's running, which he announced 286 days after he lost to Republican newcomer Bernie Moreno by just under 4%, when President Trump won Ohio by more than 11 points.
I've spent my career taking on interest groups, essentially, a system that's rigged against workers, and I've always fought against that. And, whether that's when corporations are making more money than ever, corporate executives are doing big stock buybacks, giving themselves bonuses, workers are more productive, but they're seeing more money go out than coming in. And I've spent my career taking those interest groups on. Over the last 8 months, it's gotten worse. Drug prices have gone up, grocery prices have gone up, big tax cuts for the wealthy. We've seen a $3 trillion addition to the federal deficit. We've seen, in far too many cases, workers are just getting left further behind. And I've seen that over the last 8 months. And I realize that Ohio doesn't have anyone. Ohio workers don't have anybody fighting for them in the U.S. Senate, and I want to go back and continue going after those interest groups, making Ohio workers have a better, a better standard of living, and Ohio workers get a fair shake.
Specifically, why did you decide to go to the U.S. Senate versus running for governor? Because
I look around and see that Ohio workers don't really have anybody advocating for them. They see drug prices go higher. They see we all see corporate profits are up, workers aren't sharing in the wealth they create. I believe I couldn't stand on the sidelines, and I believe I can do the best for Ohio workers by going back to the Senate and being that strong voice for workers. When I say workers, I mean union members, non-union. I mean, a McDonald's worker, a home care worker, a steel worker, somebody that works in the back office at an insurance company, somebody that works at a grocery store. Workers who are simply not getting a fair shake from their government, and workers realize that corporations are going to try to extract as much money as they can from their paychecks and at the checkout line. But workers would like to see somebody in government that's not so co-opted by interest groups. We have Jon Husted running for this seat. He's been, for his whole career, he has been a guy that's been in state government for a quarter century, has continued to side with utility companies and banks and Wall Street and drug companies. And so it's no surprise when he came to the Senate that he continues to do that. With every vote he casts, the rich get richer and workers get hurt, and that's really the contrast in this race.
So the fundraising numbers came in the day after you announced $3 million. Did you raise that all in one day?
Oh, we raised 24 hours. We raised more money than anybody ever has. It's money from all 88 counties. 90% of the contributions are under $100. The average contribution was, $40, something like that, because people understand the system is rigged against workers. And we got a lot of people that wrote $25 checks, $15 checks, or went online and contributed that amount because they want somebody that'll be strong voice for them. People know that Jon Husted is always going to side with the utility companies, the electric companies. He's always going to decide in favor of Wall Street. He's always going to side. In politics, politics is not really left or right. It's whose side you on. And I've always been on the side of workers, and Jon Husted's always been on the side of corporate interest. His career in state government, now that he's in the federal government, shows that, as my career shows that I'll side with workers.
Do you have any idea how many total donations you got in that 24-hour
We've not
period?
counted tens of thousands.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't that when 90% of the contributions are under $100 and you raise $3.6 million, whatever the number. And I'm particularly proud that it's from all 88 counties in Ohio, because I don't know if anybody's ever done that, had contributions essentially from everyone. Most people get their contributions from Cleveland or Columbus or Cincinnati or Toledo or Dayton. We got contributions from people that saw that I knew I was going to announce. They probably heard it in probably heard it on public radio or public television, and they wanted to be part of it.
Money is likely to flood Ohio next year. We know that on the Republican side. We've got Vivek Ramaswamy. He's already raised a tremendous amount of money. He's got the potential to raise far more funds. Do you think that he will sweep Husted in with that money advantage?
Oh, I don't think it's at all clear who's going to win the governor's race. I think that he's an out-of-state billionaire trying to come in here and buy an office. But we've seen that before. And it's unfortunate that I don't know how that race affects this one, but I do know that my focus is going to be on Ohio workers, as always has been. I will be outspent. I pretty much always have been. Literally, there's more money spent against me 2 years or last year than I believe any Senate race in history. So they'll try to do that. When you stand up to the drug companies and you stand up to the electric companies and you stand up to Wall Street, of course they want to beat you. And that's why every race I've run, millions of dollars have come in to defeat me. I wear that with pride. I mean, I think that I welcome, as I think FDR said, I welcome their enmity, that they think I'm a threat to their power and their corporate profits. And I want companies to do well in Ohio. I've worked with small business my whole career, but I don't want it at the expense of Ohio workers.
The political landscape right now is different than it was in 2018, and it's even different than it was in 2024, right? Mm-hmm. And how does that affect you?
Well, in 2025, we have seen a rigged system already get worse. Drug prices up, grocery prices up. The bill that Jon Husted voted for in a few weeks ago will mean 490,000 Ohioans lose their health insurance. Think about that. State of 12 million, almost 500,000 will lose their health insurance. Think of that in rural Ohio, where if a hospital closes, and there's talk already of up to a dozen hospitals closed, if a hospital closes in rural Ohio, it means people have to drive 30, 40, 50 miles to deliver a baby, if they have an emergency situation. It also means, as bad as that is, it means some of these hospitals, as these hospitals close, more often than not, these hospitals in small towns are the biggest employer in town. So it means a big loss of jobs in a small town that can't afford that. So when Jon Husted cast this vote, essentially to close rural hospitals, to take away insurance for 500,000 people almost, he does it at the same time as running up the national debt by $3 trillion, and does it all to provide a tax cut to billionaires, a huge tax cut to billionaires. You ask the question, whose side are you on? I would have voted against that because I want to preserve health insurance. I want to get a fairer tax system. I don't want rural hospitals to close, and he does. And so you make this contrast, whose side are you on? He's on the side of the billionaires. He's on the side of big drug companies. He's on the side of Wall Street. I'm on the side of workers. I mean, you're going to hear that throughout the campaign, that again, politics isn't left or right. It's whose side are you on? And you know, Joe, all the times we've talked, that I'm on the side of workers, and I always have been and always will be.
What did you learn in 2024 that will help you in your bid in 2026?
I think I learned that how important. I mean, I already kind of knew this, how important it is to listen to workers, how important it is that Congress respond to this. I think that I used to, last year and this year, I go to the grocery store after church, and I saw people at the checkout line. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes realize they had to put things back on the shelf, or at least not take them through the checkout counter because they couldn't afford it. And we need to pay more attention to that as elected officials and as candidates do.
Do you feel any responsibility to help the Democrats who are running at the statewide level? A lot of them were kind of hanging back and kind of waiting to see what you did. And now that they know, we might see more candidates come in. But do you feel a responsibility to help sweep them in with coattails or anything like that?
I don't really know how you do that. My focus is on workers. As I've said, I think that my role as an Ohio Democrat is that that others running for office will listen to and follow what I'm saying, because I win elections because of my focus on workers. I think Ohio Democrats need to do the same, and I think if they do, we will win more elections.
The Trump factor. It's an issue in Ohio. Trump is driving the movement in Ohio right now. How will you navigate that? And how will you attract those voters, especially voters in labor, who were once very steadily in the Democrats' corner and your corner, but maybe went to Trump in recent years?
Oh, working families and union members are still very much in my corner. I don't think last fall voters voted for tax cuts for rich people. I don't think voters last fall voted for higher drug prices. I don't think voters voted for a higher national debt of $3 trillion. And I don't think voters voted for hospital closures in small towns, or I don't think voters voted to lose their insurance, as 490,000 Ohioans will. We will make that clear. I don't think voters think about the president in those discussions. They think about what's happened in our state. I mean, I got in this race because over the last 8 months, I've seen how things have gotten worse for Ohio workers, and I couldn't stay on the sidelines. And Connie and I talked a lot about that. And when you see what's happening to your country and you love your country and you realize you can do something about it, that's why I want to go back to the Senate, because I recognize Ohio's 2 senators think more about the drug companies, think more about Wall Street, think more about corporate profits than they do about workers' wages and health care and pensions.
Is the Trump tide turning?
I have no idea. That's your analysis. You're the reporter.
Okay. A lot of Democrats have wanted to know what you're going to be doing as far as how they can dovetail into your campaign. Are you going to be campaigning with the Democrats? How are you going to work with that?
I'm going to run a strong campaign. I'm an Ohio Democrat. I'm going to run a strong campaign. I'm going to win. I'm going to win by focusing on the lives of workers, focusing on how their lives have gotten worse because of Jon Husted and the positions he's taken. And that will be clear to candidates up and down the ballot. And I think that Ohio Republicans are going to backpedal away from Husted's votes.
Last question. Fox News is out saying that you talk about workers, dignity of work, but then you don't pay your personal taxes, and that you take that money from your campaign and you use it on lavish things, extravagant things. Do you want to respond to that?
Well, you know that isn't true as a reporter that's known me for years. All our taxes are paid.
A poll released this week from Emerson College, which experts have rated as a high credibility polling organization, shows Husted has a 6-point lead on Brown. Nearly $500 million was spent in last November's election when Brown lost to Bernie Moreno.